Does the Mahabharata have any influence on your mind?
I don't remember it too well. I think, now this is where I'm going to just offend a lot of people, but I think that's mostly historical thing. And obviously, everything, old Indian mythology has a lot of spirituality weaved into it, but no, it's not one that I've spent much time on.
Okay. It's more the philosophies like the Ashtavakra Gita and all that.
Yeah, I love the Ashtavakra Gita. It's incredible. The song of self-realization. Yeah.
When you're reading that stuff,
Yeah.
is there a part of your DNA that feels stimulated being Indian?
Everyone keeps trying to nail me on this,
As in?
on being Indian.
It's a very brown person thing to do
Well, I think we want a certain pride in being Indian, right?
because it was stripped off.
Because it was stripped off. I think that's exactly right. And I sort of reject that it was stripped off.
Really?
In the sense that I'm just like, hey, I'm equally valid, right? I don't consider myself inferior to anyone. I don't consider myself superior to anyone. So in that sense, like, don't let them strip you in the first place, that you have to then go needing it and fulfill it. And really, only the individual can truly transcend. Only the individual can rise above whatever is facing them. So putting your faith in a group identity, you're sort of bound for disappointment. I mean, how many Indians are there? It's over 1 billion, right? So there's going to be as many points of differentiation as there are commonality. It's not like all billion Indians link arm and march towards the same thing. We're not ants. So at least I approach it more from an individual level. I'm happy to be Indian. I have no objections with it. I think it's a rich culture, and I think it's helped me a lot. And half the books I read these days were written by Indians. Back in the day, almost all the philosophy I read is Eastern philosophy, and the little bit of Western philosophy that I like, Schopenhauer and Emerson, were incredibly, and de Mello, they were incredibly influenced by Eastern philosophy. They basically just cribbed Eastern philosophy and they put it in Western words, right? Because Eastern philosophy has the virtue of being correct. It's true, right? One side says, well, God has this shape, this skin color, this size, lived at exactly this time, and has exactly these rules. I'm like, skeptical. The other side says, well, you are the self that you're looking for. It's all inside of you. You have to figure it out for yourself. And, here's some practical steps that you can take towards self-realization. That seems more correct.
I think it's an outcome of just kind of being older. Like
Yeah,
they had more time to contemplate.
I think anyone who is highly truth-seeking will eventually find their way to Eastern philosophy. Because it has the virtue of being true, just like Western science has the advantage of being true. Okay,
Yes.
so Western physics. So when people talk about like, oh, we're going to have indigenous math. No, 2 + 2 has to equal 4. Right? Okay, we could be wrong, but I doubt it. That's our best theory right now, that 2 + 2 = 4. So I look to Western for science, technology advancement. By the way, the East is now starting to make strides there as well. But when it comes to the oldest questions, the best answers are the oldest ones. Like a lot of what we've been discussing has been around as questions since the dawn of mankind. So, and Indian civilization is one of the oldest civilizations. It's probably the oldest large civilization that explored these topics, where we have written materials and records and practitioners and so on. And there's probably more Buddhas and alive on the Indian subcontinent than there are anywhere else in the world. So if you're attracted to the truth of the old questions and you want to find the old answers, you're going to head there. This is natural.
I think there are some problems with traveling in India, namely hygiene, and it's a little chaotic. But if one is ever seeking for the right answers in life, especially when it comes to these questions, India opens up certain portals in your head.
It can be influential. That said, if you can't figure something like that out exactly where you are, exactly when you are there, then it's not true. The truth is not something that's going to live in a certain region at a certain place at a certain time. It has to be told to you by a certain person a certain way. That's not a truth. That's just another experience. So anything that, because the whole point of spirituality is to be freed of the monkey mind and to be at peace in the moment. And so it can't be reliant on anything outside. It can't be in the future. It can't be in a different place. One of my problems that I have with all religions is this idea that, like, oh, this is the word of God and it was passed down through this book. Well, okay, well, what if I didn't speak that language? What if I was born at the wrong time? No. Any fundamental truth that spiritual has to be accessible to every human at every time, in every place, regardless of language, culture, religion, age, gender, whatever, or even physical being. Like you could have mental retardation, you could be crippled, you could be dying. You should still be able to see and find and experience that same truth on your own. Otherwise, if it's brought to you from the outside, if it's temporal, it can be taken away from you. And so I think the best path towards truth is understanding, because when you deeply understand something, you're not going to un-understand it. It's the nature of truth that once you see it, once you learn it, you don't unlearn it, because it's true. Truth is indestructible knowledge in your mind. It can only be replaced by a better truth. It can only be replaced by, oh, okay, that truth wasn't complete. Here's another piece of the truth that I was missing. But in that sense, truth cannot be destroyed. It can only be overruled by other truths. So if you find some understanding, then that can be with you forever.
Hey, if you enjoyed today's clip, make sure you check out all the other clips we've uploaded on this channel. You'll find a clip related to almost every single topic, as long as you're willing to search for it.